One of my aunts is like pretty high up in the science world, in like the science world, if you know what I mean, like the bona fide science world. So the institutions where the word science doesn't mean asking questions, making hypotheses, running experiments, and coming to conclusions, like falsifying hypotheses. The science, it refers to the institutions, and whatever they say is the science, whatever gets the rubber stamp from the man. But basically, she was a biology professor at one of the universities of California. And then she got a job in Washington as like one of the people who reviews grant applications and shells out money. She's very hardworking, I'll give her that. But like the conversations that we had, she was kind of like losing her mind during the 2020, 2021, kind of 2022 saga, where she was very much basically attacking me for not going along with it, like personally attacking me. And it's like, aren't you like very busy with this high paying job? Like, why are you personally sending me emails? Like, I'm not even replying. It's just crazy to see. This is someone who's very high up giving out millions of dollars, and she's like on the crazy train.
There's a groupthink that starts to happen there. And there was a lot of insanity that kind of went on early in the pandemic under the guise of protecting people and helping people. And I think even the older population, the grandmotherly population who really care about the security and safety of all of their offspring and their the offspring of their offspring kind of bought into this even more so, was that like, you're helping everyone as you do this thing. And so like we're all in this together. We all need to do this thing to protect each other. But then eventually it was discovered that that wasn't the case. You're pretty much just helping yourself, if that, by interfacing with this medical technology. And so, but then it kept going on longer and longer. Like
Longer and longer. They're
so
still
many of the
milking it.
things which were predicated on you're doing it to help other people still getting put, still kept getting pushed. But now it's like, well, it really is just a personal decision now. So
Yeah.
all of this should just fall away. All of the rest of all the social pressure to do things, we know it doesn't make sense, and yet it continued on and on for years.
For fucking years, dude, there's still people wearing masks.
Yeah, it's still going on.
And
It
they're
is.
still milking it. Like they're still fear mongering, and they're still telling people to get their fourth, fifth, sixth jab. You know, it's like, holy smokes. Like it's just so blatant, so right in front of you now that anybody that doesn't see the machine, it's like they're a lost cause at this point. I mean, it's just so obvious. Such a mess. Like the censorship, it's like it's such a mess that like you kind of like have to like leave it behind you. There's tons of people on the internet, or I say on the internet, I mean they're in real life doing science independently. There's professors quitting academia. It's a lost cause. We're just going to do critical thinking and science independently. We're going to put our research out. We're going to run courses on Zoom,
Mm.
and we're not going to even mess with the government.
Yeah, you almost just need to pull away after a point. It does kind of feel like a lost cause. And yeah, building up from grassroots, I think the more that that can happen, the more that we actually begin to create the society that we want to live in.
Think about what you're doing. You don't have any like government credentials,
I don't. No,
and it's going well. It's going well for you. And I bet it's going well for your clients too. And
it's going
yeah,
great. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
awesome. We don't need the government to certify who can do what and tell us what to do. And then you
Mhm.
have to have insurance, and you can't say this and blah, blah, blah. It's just bullshit.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with being involved with institutions, is that more and more, in order to get promoted within those institutions, you need to adopt the groupthink of whatever that institution is. And then so even if you are just playing along and being like, well, this is what I need to say, this is what I need to think in order to move up through this, I don't really necessarily agree with this. If you're doing that year over year over year, eventually you are going to kind of believe it on some level. And then you're shifting who you are just to be a part of a system that ultimately isn't really necessary to accomplish good things.
And what's their power? What's the power of the credentialing bodies? Their power is to give you generally, it's to give you the license to distribute drugs.
Mm.
That's where they
Yeah,
derive
exactly.
their
Yeah, yeah.
power.
Most of it is like you need to have a certain tier of academia or a certain tier of certification in order to distribute pharmaceuticals. I'm not
We don't
distributing
want to do
pharmaceuticals.
that. We don't want it anyways, so we're good to go.
Exactly. We are good. And now I can just lean into the many, many years of yoga and consciousness research that I've done, mostly uncredentialed, mostly just because I found it to be fascinating and personally valuable. And I get to just share from my own experience and completely transform the lives of people who choose to listen and work with me. And it's a very rewarding thing.